Hi everyone, here's a video lesson on tips for flipping your classroom. One of the good things to do would be to include your learning goals so students can go back and they can see the exact things that you were targeting in the lesson and also some of the instruction. Our learning goals for this video will be to explore some tips for creating flipped lessons for educators. We will explore some tips to create meaningful lessons for students. We will look at 2 screen capturing tools that you can use and the equipment needed. Also, for those 2 tools, I'm going to include other videos that you can look at to see how to use the tool specifically. And we're going to review the flipped lesson assignment, so we have an idea, more clear idea of what we have to do for that. So tips for you as you record your lesson. Have your resources ready to go. And what I'll be doing is I'll be going in and out of this slideshow so that we can have a look at it. So I'm going to get out of this slideshow right now. I have all of my tabs that I want to show you ready to go. So I don't have to spend time opening things or waiting for certain programs to open or certain things to close. So we're going to have our tabs open. Also, be sure to close the unneeded tabs and programs that you're not using. Most screen capturing tools will track your mouse. So when I move my mouse, you can see that a yellow circle follows me. And if I click, something different occurs. So we can see that we have those tools. So just be mindful of that rather than just kind of moving your mouse as you're talking and just jiggling. It'll be a little distracting for our students. We also want to speak slowly and clearly. We're going to try to do it in one take. And the reason we want to try to do it in one take, if we try to wait until we get the video perfect, we're going to be recording videos for a long time. We can't spend so much time on this that it consumes our planning time and our time that we use to get ready for our classes. Screencast-O-Matic, which is the one that I'm using, does have a tool, does have a feature in there where you can pause your video, backtrack or rewind to where you made the mistake, and allows you to start re-recording from that spot. So you don't have to start the whole thing over. A little tip when you make a mistake is to actually just leave a good 10 or 15 second pause so that if you need to go back, you can actually find out where that mistake was and you can go back in and do that. You would want to re-record as soon as you make that mistake. And sometimes it's okay to make a mistake in the video and correct it on the fly as you're going. The other question is webcam or no webcam. Many of these programs allow you to have a picture of yourself live and recorded in one of the corners, or you can move it. Depends if you want to do that or not. It's up to you. Some of my students have appreciated that, and some of my students have not liked to have me on the camera and on their screen. Some of our tips for our students. Again, we're going to provide clear learning goals so they can go back and they can review it. And sometimes you might even want to give the learning goal throughout the video. So we're going to give the learning goals at the beginning and the end as a way to introduce it and a way to wrap it up. You also want to provide your students a time to pause. So if you want them to practice something or you're doing a little mini lesson and you want them to actually practice it, say, pause the video, get a piece of paper, get a pen, try this question, come on back when you're done, and continue on with the lesson. So we just want to actually provide those times. Otherwise, they'll tend to watch the video as fast as they can and then try to practice it. And it actually might be best if they were to pause and go back to the video. Invite them to write questions down. So if they have a question that they have for you when they get a chance to see you, invite them to write that down. And invite them to bring those to class. So come to class with your questions. Also, invite them to explore other resources. So invite them, say you're doing a lesson and you're using the GeoBoard, we'll invite them to play with the GeoBoard. Take them to the website, try the GeoBoard out so you're more familiar with it, and look at how the graph works or how the elastics work on the GeoBoard. When I do a flipped lesson, the main device that I need, I have this headset. This is a Logitech USB headset. I find the headset works best because the microphone it picks up my voice a bit better than the microphone on my laptop. The laptop will work, just that it may also pick up some background noise. So the microphone on your laptop will work and the webcam on your laptop will work. It just may pick up more background noise. The Logitech headset that I use is about $60 or $70. I also want to invite you to look at this one. This is an old video game called Rock Band. And sometimes you can find these at Value Village or other thrift stores in the electronics aisle. And often they have them up there for a couple of bucks. They work really well. They're a USB microphone that's actually made by Logitech. And sometimes that's just a great way. It's also a great way to get recording devices into your classroom at an affordable rate. Two screen capturing tools that I want to look at. Let me go back. I want to look at Screencast-O-Matic. So that's the one that I'm currently using. Screencast-O-Matic, the free version, lets you do a 15-minute video, which is more than long enough. I don't think your video should be longer than 5 or 10 minutes for each lesson. And if you're trying to put in 2 or 3 concepts, then I would suggest making a couple of videos. Screencast-O-Matic was really good during COVID. They had a great deal on the educational version. I know some people last year or the past couple of years have had issues with Macs working with Screencast-O-Matic. What you'd want to do is you want to download the free recorder. It's going to install a little piece of software onto your computer, and then if you look at the other video that I have, it shows you how to use it and how to use some of the features of it. But it would look similar to this when it starts up. So you'd have a record button down in your corner. You'd also have the option we talked earlier about having a webcam or no webcam included. The other one that is pretty good is Loom. Loom is free for educators, and it's you can sign up and you get a professional version of Loom if you are from a school. So I think Redeemer would qualify. I'm using my Hamilton Christian High School account. So I would log into this. It's going to verify my account. This takes me into Loom. I've just got a couple of little recordings in here. But again, pretty easy to use. I want to click on New Video, and I would have an interface that comes up. And I'm going to give you another video made by Loom that shows you how to use their resource. Let me go back to our slideshow. So those are the two tools that I like. The other one that I've used, if you have a smartboard or access to a smartboard, the smartboard actually lets you record the instruction and your voice if you have a computer or a headset plugged into your computer. So another good resource to use. I think I have a resource on that too. I'll put that up on Google Classroom so you can check it out. Redeemer, I believe, still has a smartboard in the Teacher Education Resource Center outside the library, inside the library. We have a few smartboards at our school at HTCH that if one night you want to try some, perhaps during our project time, or you want to try them out, but we're not going to formally look at them together. Smartboards are actually a pretty old or older device, so they're not that they're on their way out. There's still many schools, but they're starting to be used differently. Once you have your recording, and the tutorials will show you how to actually save the recording, you'll want to upload it to somewhere. Uploading it to YouTube, you can get a free account on YouTube. If you want to upload it to YouTube, Redeemer does not allow their email accounts to access YouTube. So you will have to use a different Gmail account if you want it up on YouTube. You can also put the video up into Google Classroom and you can share it with your students. Google Drive and share it with your students, or you can upload it directly to Google Classroom. So we have a couple of options of how we want to add that. I also want to take a moment to just look at our flipped lesson assignment so we have an idea of what we have to do. So using a tool like the Smartboard Screen Capture, Loom, Common Craft Style Video, which we'll be looking at on week 4 together. So we'll be talking about that in week 3, what we have to bring and how we're going to use Common Craft Style videos. Or you can use Screencast-O-Matic. I want you to play around with it. Make a 5 to 10 minute video tutorial or a lesson, explain a website, do something with it. Perhaps you have a geography lesson, perhaps you have a socials lesson, or you want to figure out how to do a language art lesson on that. Post the video to either YouTube, Google Classroom, or another online site, such as Google Drive. You will likely wish to create something you can also use for your project. So we'll be talking more about our project in week 3. And my hope is that you can actually start to create all these resources for your project. The learning goals for the flipped lesson assignment: we're going to organize a lesson or a tutorial, discover how to create and post the lesson, create digital video content. Your success criteria is listed here, and our rubric is down here. So things to include: so learning goals and success criteria, we want to put those inside of our video. How are you going to organize your content? And again, I'm going to suggest you limit your lesson to one topic rather than try to squeeze a couple of topics into a video. Provide students opportunities to explore. So you might want to list some other resources and other sites that they could check out. We also want to provide them cues and opportunities to try or to work on the lesson. So perhaps these reminders: hey, why don't you pause the video for a moment, think about this, write down a response, or answer this question. So those are some of the things that we can do in our flipped lesson. And that's our rubric that goes with that. Let me just go back to our video and our slideshow. So back to review our learning goals. We explored some tips for creating flipped lessons for educators. We explored some tips to create meaningful lessons for students. I'm going to give you some exemplars too from previous years, so you have an idea kind of what the expectations are. I think exemplars are a great way for us to more fully understand what's required of us. We looked at 2 screen capturing tools, and I'll again provide those resources and some links to how to actually use the tools. We reviewed the flipped lesson assignment, and that is our lesson, our video lesson on the flipped classroom. So again, keep an eye out for some of the tools. It'll be in Google Classroom, and you can check those out. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or come to class with those questions about this. You want to review and look at some of the instructional videos for how to post, and then also looking at how to perhaps upload to YouTube if you have another Gmail account, because remember, Redeemer's email account doesn't allow for YouTube uploads, but you can also put it to Google Classroom or to Google Drive.